Hey guys, it's Ann. Welcome to my home worm farming channel. On this channel, I do a lot of different kind of worm systems. This is a VermiBag wedge, and this has European night crawlers in it. I do lots of different kinds of systems with different kinds of worms, and this one is quickly becoming everybody's favorite. So we have had a bit of a mouse problem in the basement, but this one I don't think is as much hit for some reason. I don't know why. Let's have a look and see how it's doing. So that end down there is supposed to be the finished end, and this is supposed to be the fed end. So let's see what we've got. Looks like they've got a little bit of pumpkin left, so that's good. They haven't gone completely hungry. And it also means that if I see a high concentration of worms, that the worms are still here, as we have noticed with blue that they are not. Now I gave them a lot of pumpkin, so it looks like they don't really need fed right now. Wanted to check in on all the systems while I was home, just to make sure that they weren't suffering like the African night crawlers were. And that's packing paper. So these guys actually look like they're doing pretty good. Hopefully the worms are finally safe from the marauders in the area. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I don't have to feed them a whole lot. I will probably sneak them a bit of a feeding just in a pocket here, because probably by the next time I get down here, they will have eaten all of that. So when I say a little feeding, I mean like eggshells. Like this is just coffee and eggshells and a couple of little squash that didn't ripen fully this summer. So this is a huge bin. This is almost 6 feet long and 3 feet wide, and probably pushing close to 2 feet deep. I'll put the metric in there for you, but basically what I'm saying is this is a huge bin with a lot of worms, and that is a little feeding for them. Generally I will feed them 3 or 4 gallons of food to last them the month or the 3 weeks, whatever the time is between feedings. I am going to give them a little bit of bedding to cover that up, because I did disturb it and I don't want the bugs to come in, etc. So let's get them a little bit of bedding. And it's going to be dry bedding, so that the buffer between wet feeding and dry bedding, in theory, should confuse the bugs. They really won't want to travel through this dry bedding, and that will probably get them for another couple of weeks, especially since they did not eat all that pumpkin that I fed them last time. So let's look at the finished end. We're doing this a little bit backwards today, but let's look at the finished end and see how wet it is and see if the worms are getting out of Dodge. Here we are at the finished end, and we'll see if we've got any worms going in here. Still quite a bit of moisture down here. Not seeing a lot of worms, but giving it a good stir will help this dry down a little bit and, you know, make the worms want to leave if they haven't already. I am really impressed with how well the moisture is retaining in this system. The African night crawlers in the VermiBag is always struggling with its moisture, and I thought, because this doesn't have a lid and I thought it was made out of pretty much the same stuff, that I would really struggle, but I'm not. So this must be made out of a more waterproof Cordura than what my original VermiBag is made out of. So the moisture is not being a problem in here at all. And as you can see, there's not very many worms down here, which is a good thing. They're meant to leave this area and go towards the feeding that we just gave them. And the microbes and whatnot will finish up over here, and I can harvest from here in a couple of months. But right now we are still in building mode with this. Oh, there's a worm. But we're still in building mode with this, so we're nowhere near gonna harvest this month, probably not even next month. It'll be midsummer before we do. All right, so if you're liking this VermiBag wedge, there's a whole playlist right over here. And if you've already seen that, there's a video right over here that YouTube thinks you're gonna like even better. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me and my worms, and everybody, have a good day.